Right, so today we're finally going to start our men's wrestling matches of the year. Yes, at this point in time, I have already got recorded and completely out the men and women's wrestlers of the year. You can find that on the YouTube channel and on the TikTok page. But without further ado, we're going to go over my top 10 personal favourite men's wrestlers of the year matches. And with one honourable mention because it was very hard to rank them. I will say I did watch more matches than I seen throughout the year, so I rewatched all these matches before ranking them out of a solid score and then ranked them in order. For myself, a top 10 seems normal for both genders, so a women's one will follow, but also I did watch a lot of matches from multiple companies too, so if you didn't think a match that should have made it is here, let me know, and I can always do a one-off video because I'm going to start doing them soon. So I've got about 2 or 3 that I want to talk about, along with the Bryan matches that I'm doing. So I love wrestling. But without further ado, let's go over our honourable mention for the men's wrestlers of the year matches, men's matches of the year from 2025. So for our honourable mention match of the year, I was very close to putting this in number 10. But as much as I've got personal bias with it, I couldn't. This is the match from All Out, AEW's pay-per-view this year at Toronto, involving Konosuke Takeshita, Kazuchika Okada, and one of my favourite wrestlers in the world, Mascara Dorada. Now, this triple threat is unbelievable. It's one of the reasons I'm a big fan of Mascara Dorada. And just everything about it. This was early on in Takeshita and Okada's little rivalry. And it was still ever growing. Obviously, Don Callis is still involved, and Mascara Dorada won the chance to face the pair of them for the Continental Championship in a triple threat. This match did not have the right to go as hard as it did. I love everything about it. I love the main thing about this match, and it to me steals the show. It's probably one of my favourites. This is probably the reason is Dorada's steal the show. If you watch this match, you know exactly what I'm on about. Mascara Dorada goes in there, and in my opinion, if you watch spoilers for my Wrestlers of the Year video, Konosuke Takeshita, in my opinion, was the best wrestler of 2025, and Kazuchika Okada had a phenomenal year too. And for me, someone who weren't familiar with Mascara Dorada too well, I mean, every time I see it, you all know if you watch my videos how much I enjoy Mascara Dorada. I think he's truly one of the best wrestlers in the world, especially Lucha Libre, for what I know. And just this match proves it. He goes in against these two, frankly, all-timers, puts his finger on the chest metaphorically and goes, I am not needing, do not count me out this match. And he steals the show. The airtime, the flips he gets, Jesus. The main spot that steals the show for me was obviously the double DDT he hit the pair of them. Jesus, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. The selling, the airtime, everything you know about Mascara Dorada is just perfectly encapsulated in this match. And Joe, I remember watching this match live. I wanted Dorada to win this match so bad. Just from this match, just from the showing alone, I wanted Dorada to win. Obviously, it ain't gonna happen, but I still watch it now. I'm like, he needs to win. And you all don't understand how much I love Dorada, and it's all because of this match. And to me, if one single match can make me realistically a super fan, I feel like anyway, of one wrestler from one show, and I think that's more than commendable. I love Dorada, and that's not even counting the best wrestler of 2025 and one of the best wrestlers of all time in the match already. I mean, Okada's drop kicks are incredible. Character work is incredible. The middle finger spot where he does it to Takeshita and Dorada. And Dorada, yeah. Takeshita's just constant, like, just rage building up. And, you know, Takeshita and Okada, I think that's the basic story of the match. They want to go at each other and they don't. Because obviously Dorada's just getting in there going, do you know who the fuck I am? And as he should, because he's the fucking guy. Jesus. I mean, the Rage and Fire's always teased. The Rainmaker's constantly teased. You know, again, this is so early on in Takeshita and Okada's rivalry. It's still building, so you know they have tension. But it's not to the point where, like, you know, it's distractingly apparent. But Dorada being there just kind of holds them back. They do team up a tiny bit, but just to kind of get Dorada out of the way, but he doesn't go away. He's too persistent. He's defiant as all hell. It's phenomenal. Again, the flips and stuff. Dorada, again, there was no reason for Dorada to shine this well, and that's obviously all credit to him and Okada and Takeshita. But frankly, it's a marvel. And sometimes with triple threats, I feel like they can get a bit messy. And I don't think this did. I think this went perfectly well. I don't think it had any problems of pacing. I feel like it built itself up really well. The finish is excellent. Obviously, Okada and Takeshita are in the bout. Dorada's basically finished because they're both targeting Dorada. Obviously, he's the pin eater. And Takeshita sets up the Raging Fire, or the Raging Knee. And then Okada hits one of his incredible, many in the match, drop kicks on Takeshita. Rags of Dorada up, hits the Rainmaker, brutal Rainmaker, and gets the pin, retaining the championship. The match, again, it's incredible. It truly is incredible. And frankly, I just think every single time I see any of these three wrestlers, I'm always going to be reminded of this match. And I'm always going to be reminded, especially with Dorada, how good this match was. And what's crazy about how good these wrestlers are, they never disappoint. They always live up to an expectation, and it's just a marvel. I didn't want to not talk about it. I love this match so much. It truly was one of my favourites. It's so entertaining. If you've never seen it, you need to do your first stuff. That goes to every match on this list, obviously. But this match specifically, I just felt wrong not leaving it on. There's only a few, obviously there's only 10 matches in the men's that I ranked higher, so I just wanted to give this one the credit because, honestly, as a Mascara Dorada fan, I felt criminal not putting this on there. I needed it on there, and I just needed to talk about it briefly, so that is the honourable mention. But yes, let's get on to the true top 10 men matches of 2025. So, number 10 on our matches of the year for the men of 2025 is MJF vs Mystico in CMLL's 92nd anniversary show. This is for the CMLL light heavyweight belt, I think. The belt's not really important. And obviously the build to this, so to speak, was basically just MJF going through trying to rip all the luchadors' masks off, and obviously AEW Grand Slam Mexico, where he succeeded this and started the Mystico feud. At this point, MJF is with the Hurt Syndicate, and they join him in his escapades to Mexico. But during this match, I believe he is on his own. I believe he's kicked out of the Hurt Syndicate at this point. So MJF at this point went into Mexico, and he's already well known. He's known for taking Mystico's mask already, and he's getting the most heat. It's ridiculous. And then to favour it, he comes out dressed as Homelander. He's got Jonathan Cruz with the flag waving. Just ultimate arrogance. And then when Mystico comes out, it's nowhere near as good. It's good. It's a really good entrance as you expect with Mimiero playing. But it's not as good as their Grand Slam one. I love that Grand Slam one. If you don't know, it's like one of the greatest entrances ever. And even when he's just parading it, I don't know who Mystico's partner is on the outside. That's just, excuse my ignorance. And MJF attacks him straight away. And before the bell starts, obviously making the match start. And he rips the mask straight away, and then Mystico's just bleeding. And that's basically a common theme throughout the match. The blood is insane. Not like insane, but just from basically one cut, essentially. It's everywhere. It paints the canvas. The canvas is absolutely destroyed by the time it's finished. And just the match, like, I feel like the best way to describe this match is pure simplicity and perfected. It's not trying to be some incredible, high-flying, ridiculously fast-paced match. No, it's a simple good versus evil triumph. And I don't think there's two better wrestlers, characters-wise, whatever, in this setting that works it as good as MJF versus Mystico. I think, if even from my limited CMLL experience and knowledge, Mystico's he's like a god. He's literally a superhero, and for him to have such a villain such as MJF, who's like the biggest villain you can get, along with Jonathan Cruz parading the flag, who gets like a few involvements now and again in the match, it's great. And it's not trying to be anything else. It knows what it wants to be, and it perfects that. There's not these incredible high flying moves. I think Mystico only hits his finisher once, and then obviously that's how he gets the finish. And it's just everything's so effective. The crowd is unbelievable. If you've never watched the CMLL match ever, this will sell you on it, because it did for me, and I can speak for that firsthand. I've watched Grand Slam Mexico before this. I watched this before, obviously having an interest. Then more and more AEW Showcase, obviously, and then I got in to see it. I watched this because I wanted to watch it. I loved the build of MJF and Mystico. It transcended both companies, 3 companies if you want to include MLW, I think it was. And just It's perfection. It's perfect. Like, not it's 10, so I don't really want to say it's perfection, but you know what I mean. It's perfection for what it sets out to be, and I couldn't leave that out. I feel like MJF, but all the moves are solid. A lot of outside play, you know, a lot of just heel tactics from MJF, doing the eye pokes, Mystico's resilience. The imagery in this match is the best I've ever seen. I adore the imagery. I think Mystico's sitting there because the mask is like split open, like above his eye, so you can see the exposed eye, you can see a bit of his mouth, and you can see the desperation in his eyes. You truly can. And like, there's a point where he's outside the ropes and he's trying to get back in, but they put it over on the English comment. I watched this with English commentary. I would kill to watch it with Mexican, but I couldn't find it. And he couldn't get in, not because just the fatigue, but because the ropes were that slippery due to his blood. It was nuts. MJF's heel, just how he's so good as a heel is ridiculous. When he just goes like the insanity in his eyes when he goes like that, the kick outs Mystico gets. I mean, like, MJF's truly dumbfounded. He cannot believe. Like, he puts his head in his hands. That look he gives, and that's when he starts, like, you know, locking in essentially. Oh, it's genius. It's a genius match, and it's like, again, I don't think there's two better wrestlers that could have achieved this match. I don't. I feel like, and the crowd is impeccable. It's one of the best crowds all year, and that's truly saying something on this list. And I just think for the moment that, again, obviously, so Mystico does win, and the crowd don't even really care about the belt. It's like they put it over on commentary yet again. It's Mexico versus MJF, not America. Mexico versus just MJF. Mystico's truly a superhero. Like, even when he's finished, obviously the crowd's blaring out Mimiero and they're holding the mask up. Like, a bunch of people are holding the mask up, the signs, the crowd are all over it. Like, I've never seen a wrestler as universally revered as Mystico. At least in my experience, I truly haven't. And it's like, that doesn't, like, for me, I think this is the fundamentals of wrestling perfected. And if you, like, I don't think there's a lot of other matches, I would say, to other people who don't know wrestling, in all senses, WWE, AEW, New Japan, whatever company, whatever style, I will go, okay, if doesn't sell you on wrestling in any sense, none of it will, because it's just everything bare to bone, but like to a ridiculously good quality, and it's like getting like the perfect piece of toast, right? It's like, and it sounds stupid, but like, toast is, you can enjoy toast, but if it's perfect, it's perfect. But you know what I mean? Like, it's something simple but perfected, and I love it. I think good versus evil, heel versus face, it's just, it works. It works to such a great level, and I adore this match. I truly adore this match. It's one of my favourites of the year. It's one of my favourites of MJF's catalogue. I'm a big MJF guy, and that's truly saying something. And I just think, even the Homelander entrance, just everything small, just, if you watch the match, which I obviously highly recommend with everyone on this list, just enjoy it. You felt like with this one specifically, you'll see a lot of small things that work. Jonathan Cruz is excellent. After the match, when they're presenting Mystico with the belt, Jonathan Cruz gets back in to try and take the belt off him, and Mystico gives him a head kick, which is great. And just in general, it just works so well. It really does. I think the thing that I love truly about this match is it just personifies everything that I like about wrestling and what I consider the fundamentals of it. And the in-ring stuff, not to like downplay the in-ring stuff. The in-ring stuff's great, but it's not spectacular. It's like, from what I like, compared to the last match we talked about, the Dorada and Takeshita and Okada freeway, I think that match, that's why I was torn between these two matches, admittedly, is because I think in-ring that match is probably a bit better. But no match, well, that match specifically, has not made me feel as much as I loved the feelings I felt about this match. And I love Mascara and Dorada, and it was a tight list anyway. But this was, I'm a big fan of feeling during wrestling. I feel like that's a big part. Obviously, it's got to sell the emotion, and the crowd does that to such a high extent, obviously, in this match specifically. But I just think the Mexican crowd, from what I've experienced, this is why I wanted, I'm desperate to watch someone CMLL. And I just think that this, it's just, I think this is what, even for me, it makes you want to watch more of CMLL. I think that's a big plus. It makes you want to see more of Mystico. You get Mystico. Everything it sets out to do, everything it sells you on perfectly. And like, yeah, again, the match isn't like the most spectacular in-ring match, but the experience of it is, it's second to none, and it's rewatchable as all hell. It's so self-contained. It's so, because it's simplicity at its best. It's not trying to be something extravagant. It's just, let's just go to the cause of wrestling. Let's get good versus evil. Let's get the emotion, the crowd carry it, and then obviously the in-ring stuff, the imagery. I love the imagery of Mystico in this match, with the split eye, bleeding, everything about it, everything about the imagery, everything it sets out to do. is again just perfected. And this is, again, every single match on this list is a high recommendation, but this, I think if you watch this, you'll love it more than you expect. At least I expected to overgo in, but I adore it. I adore this match truly, and it's wild that it's not higher on the list, but that is because it's not the most spectacular in ring, but I love it anyway. I truly do. If you haven't watched it, watch it. But this is pure the fundamentals of wrestling done perfectly by two absolute perfect wrestlers for this occasion. So, number 9 on our wrestling matches of the year for the men of 2025 is Bandido versus Takeshita for the Ring of Honor World Championship at Death Before Dishonor. This match is incredible. It's so fucking good. I've not seen so much of Hechicero, admittedly, but by far the best match I've ever seen of the guy. And in Bandido's insane year that was last year, it's one of his best. And it's surprisingly low, but it's just, the list is so stacked for me this year. I love, from a technical point of view, this match. Hechicero's known as such a great technical wrestler anyway, but it's so fucking good. The counters, the resilience from both guys, the constant just back and forth. The match is very razor thin. Excellent. The crowd's loving it. The Don Callis and just the comments by Don. Even Bandido showing more character, flipping both of them off like that. Oh, it's great. The air that Bandido still gets in the sky, just going off. It's insane. And even it's small stuff. It feels like a true lucha match, obviously, but it's not an insanely fast match. It's not. But everything's got meaning to it. Them both ripping each other's masks, both going resilient. Again, both the counters, it's mainly the counters for me in this match. The counters they both throw in this match are genuinely incredible, truly. And just how they manage to just go about it, and just Bandido getting out the cradles, and even when they're doing the cradle things, and you're supposed to have your arms held, and they both hold their arms like that up and then reverse out of it. It's nuts. Even Bandido, obviously, Hechicero's such a big guy, and Bandido still holds him up with one arm, or two, I think it is in this one. He's insane. And just everything about it, it's not it's not the quickest of matches, but it's just reversal masterclass, truly. And I feel that's something I always enjoy. One of my favourite wrestlers in the world is Jay White, and he's the best counter wrestler I've seen, and these two just put him, not to shame, but you know what I mean, it's such a good counter wrestling match. But technically, it's slow. It's not slow, but it hasn't had the quickest of pace. It's very weighty in terms of its movement, and the stories, it's one of Bandido's tightest matches. It is Ring of Honor defense, which was such a great defense. Still, it's going on to this day, and just everything about it, I really enjoyed it. It's not I don't think it's Bandido's greatest resilience and babyface performance. I don't. But I think it's the most legitimate that Hechicero's looked, at least to me. But then also it's a true threat. It feels like that's because Hechicero is such a big name in lucha, especially CMLL, obviously. It feels like a very deserved and justified way of having him see such a high level against Bandido. And frankly, I just think the crowd obviously helps a lot. Obviously it does. But it's more the sense of it elevates the match to a point where it feels I don't want to say it feels so razor thin it could go either way. It did feel razor thin in terms of they were both such a high quality, but it was more the sense of it just felt it felt very arty, if that makes sense. It felt very this is just magnificent. Truly, that's the exact word I'd use for it, is magnificent. The crowd's obviously hard. Don adds a lot to it. And just how, again, it's just pure how they're just able to just do this shit. It's insane. It shows how good Bandido's year was. It shows how good Hechicero was, which is still a big thing for me. And it really gave, to me, it gave that match such a specific individuality. It was so unique in a sense, because I don't really think I see matches like that a lot. And the only one I can think of that I saw like that last year was debatably McGuinness versus Sabre Jr., but even then I don't think that was as technical, which is insane coming from both those guys. But this just nails it. It nails the technical wrestling that I love. It's one of Bandido's one of the best baby faces ever, truly, and from last year anyway. He's one of the best wrestlers last year, and Hechisero's just such a reliable, such a great, consistent guy that it just works. The match is great. I don't think it's one of those where you can watch it and it'll have you jumping off your seat going, oh yeah. I think if you know professional wrestling and you know like how athleticism and this stuff works, it would. But I don't think to the average viewer, I don't think you could show this to a WWE fan. I truly don't. I don't mean that as a disservice or a dig. I just don't. I don't think it satisfies that type of genre of wrestling that appeals to them normally. But it just nails. To me, it kind of nails. I love old school Ring of Honor, right? It kind of nails that feeling that I love. It doesn't have that brutality, but it's not meaning to be. It's having that like. It's pure. It's like getting a bit gritty in a way, not to the sense of like how old school Ring of Honor was, where it's like McGuinness getting his head bled open from the pole spot, but just more like they're both back and forth. It felt like a true tug of war match, but just pure technical. It didn't need to have these massive. I didn't need to have these massive blood spots. It didn't need to have these massive, whole segments of showing resilience. Even though it does kind of work in the match, it felt very back and forth. The chops they delivered and the hits, the strikes they delivered is incredible. And I think that's what I like about it, is it doesn't feel so choreographed. It feels like a true wrestling match, and it just goes back and forth because the guys are so good. And just everything about it, to me, I really, really enjoyed. And I feel like this one's hard to convey for me, because it's not something I can sit there and go, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. It's not like a WrestleMania 40 match with with Cody versus Roman, where you're gonna go, oh my god, it's The Rock, oh my god, it's Cena, whatever. No, it's just sit down, admire the masterpiece that this is, and it's very melancholic, if that's the right word to describe it. It's such a technical marvel, and I love both wrestlers anyway, but this being number 9 was solid. It had to be in the top 10 for me. Really enjoyed this match, but it's true wrestling graps, and I feel like that's the best way to describe it. It's just masterful technical wrestling, and it's really worth your time if you love that type of wrestling, and I do. But if you really love it and you want it, or if you want to appreciate it, give it a watch. It's on YouTube and it is phenomenal. So number 8 on my men's wrestling matches of the year of 2025 is Will Ospreay versus Konosuke Takeshita at AEW Spring Breakthrough, which is the AEW Owen Hart Foundation semi-final. I think it's semi or the quarter-final. This is obviously going to be compared to the Revolution match, and bear in mind, that Revolution match they had in 24 was one of my favourite matches, and one of the best matches I've seen from pure athleticism. And this is right up there. It's a debate if it's better than not, the Revolution match, but Jesus, this is unbelievable. Like I said, it is the semi-final of the Owen Hart Foundation tournament, which obviously the winner of such gets the All-In title shot. And this match, I mean, Jesus, I don't think I have seen a more quintessential and just well-rounded just example of what a Will Ospreay match is. And I mean that in the most complimentary way. I don't think I've ever truly sat down. I've spoken about Ospreay a bit, but I mean, I should say Will Ospreay is one of my favourite wrestlers ever. Even in the world now. It breaks my heart that he's still injured. But he's so good. And I mean, the thing is with Ospreay, I know this is critics, which I don't get, in the sense of, it's just flippy shit. It's just spots yeah, it's wrestling, but it's the hypest shit ever. I'm not going to lie, that I don't love that. And I've already made my feelings clear on Konosuke Takeshita. Unbelievable wrestler. And when you get these two in a ring, you know what it's going to be. But Jesus, it's still incredible. I mean, the pace, the counters in this match. I feel like I said that last time, but the counters in this match are truly just... It's not the matter of, oh my god, how technical are. It's the speed of everything. That's what it is with Ospreay for me. The speed and mixed with the technicality is just insane. And Ospreay's kicks, he does this kick in this match where he's in one of the incredible many sequences where Takeshita's running at him and he's standing there and he does a backward scorpion kick. It's fucking nuts. Obviously Ospreay's moveset, the cutters that he gets, I mean, Jesus, it's just pure electric. And the match, I've said this a few times about matches, some of my favourite matches, they have a satisfying build, not just in story, but in the match itself, and I feel like it's very important. And I feel like in this match, it's it's there. It's true. The match, it doesn't even start off slow. It starts off, for these guys, it's slow, obviously. But then it builds and builds, and then you get bang, 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 bang. Like, you're used to Ospreay having these insane sequences, but like they're just building and building. There's a Styles Clash, the cuts, there's the Raging Fire, everything. Fucking Ospreay hits the I think it's the Raging Fire. He hits one of Takeshita's finishes. Fucking Takeshita hits a Hidden Blade, which remember when I watched it, it doesn't look like Takeshita actually does the Hidden Blade. He looks like he goes like jumps at him. It's hilarious. I'm a big fan of this. The crowd, and like the main problem I have with the match, if anything, it feels weird to say, is how it was kind of shot at the start. Anyway, it feels like they cut too much to the crowd because it's such a big match, it's such a big occasion that it's like, oh look how many people are excited for this match. Like, yeah, I get that, but like I'm missing Takeshita's like insane knee strikes here, which they are, and like. Oh, it's great. The one thing I do like is I love this. I remember this from like last year. Is there was a point where like 3 weeks on the run, there's people dressing up as Don Callis. So like Don Callis walks out in the entrances, and he's going yeah, and then like this guy's going mad, going yeah in front of Don, and Don's like, oh, I love him. I love that shit. But in general, I mean, as a match, it's pure. The exact way it is electric. It really is. I mean. The fact that the striking spot where it's like Takeshita is just getting the one strike on Ospreay, and Ospreay's like stumbling, but he won't go down. The resilience of Ospreay is always immaculate, and he goes and then Ospreay does like 3 strikes, and then Takeshita just does 1 because there's such a weight difference. They're so similar in quality. Obviously, they're both 2 of the best wrestlers in the world, but weight, Takeshita's huge compared to Ospreay. But even Callis says it on commentary. The kicks are what Ospreay's advantages are, and I mean, again, the speed, the lariats, just the Raging Fires, honestly, the knees, just it's such a magnificent just example of a Will Ospreay match. And ironically, I don't think it's Will Ospreay's best match. I don't, but I feel like, I mean, ever. But I also think like, if I had to describe someone, okay, someone was like, I want to watch a Will Ospreay match, don't get me wrong, I'd probably show them, like, you know, his best matches. Which this is part of his best matches, and that's a high bar. But I'd go, if you want a quintessential Will Ospreay match, I'd say this is it. And I don't know why this is more quintessential than his other matches, maybe. I don't know how to describe that. But it feels like it just is. It feels like, if I watch it and go, that's a Will Ospreay match. In the other ones, it's like, okay, this is just Will Ospreay. Like, look at Will Ospreay versus Kenny from Forbidden Door years ago. It's like, it's a classic Will Ospreay match, but it's not a quintessential Will Ospreay match, if that makes sense. Like, this feels like this is Ospreay just summed up in the most positive way possible. I mean, it's the way it builds. Like, rewatching some matches, because I've had to watch these matches like 3 times, right, at least. And that's not including the matches, like these matches. I've rewatched most of these matches throughout the year. I've had to rewatch these matches like 2 to 3 times just for these lists. And this one still gets me fucking hyped, and a lot of them do, but like, for instance, I think that's really impressive. A rewatchability factor in wrestling is nuts, and the atmosphere does help. The crowd's up for it. The crowd truly acknowledge and just like realize how great this match is, and just how talented these two are. But I mean, just they're too good. That's what I kept saying to myself. These two are too good. Ospreay's too good. They're a joke. That's how good it is. They're just too fucking good. It's like, you ever see someone that's that good and you just start laughing, like, just in disbelief? That is Will Ospreay. That is Kenosuke Takeshita. These two, they shouldn't have as good as chemistry as they do, but they're just pure bliss. And just, honestly, I feel like they eventually will have a 3rd match, obviously. And it's just, anytime these two are announced, it's always going to be the straight heat. And who's not going to love that? I adore this match. If anyone's seen it, you can obviously just test how good the spots are, how quick it is. There's no break in pace. Like, with Ospreay matches, they have the spots like end, like the sequences end, and then there's like a minute, not even a minute, and then you pick back up. They do have that. The spots, the sequences are so like long compared to, you know, normal sequences from other matches. You're like, Jesus, and then like it doesn't feel as long. There's no drag. This match is like 30 minutes. Well, I think it was. It doesn't feel like that at all. There's no drag. There's no like low points in the match. In my opinion, it's a satisfying build. The pacing of it's immaculate. Truly one of the best matches of the year, obviously. watch it. If you haven't, again, I say this to all of them, watch it, because if you're a fan of Ospreay and somehow haven't seen this match, I don't know how, but if you want to start watching, and I know Will Ospreay's a big, obviously, Will Ospreay is such, and Takeshita, but specifically Ospreay is such a big draw that people obviously can see AEW is a bit overwhelming and stuff, and whatever, watch this match, because I feel like it's such a great introduction of just who Will Ospreay is and why he truly is one of the greatest wrestlers in the world and will go down as one of the greatest of all time. So, number 7 on our men's wrestling matches of the year for 2025 is the Continental Classic semi-final between Kyle Fletcher and Jon Moxley. Now, this is at World's End, and honestly, the Continental Classic was brilliant anyway, as expected. And Kyle Fletcher had, in my opinion, like 3 of the best matches, the top 3 easily, of the entire tournament. And it's a high bar considering who was in it. But a lot of people will tell you that Jon Moxley stole the tournament. Just with, you got to look, the context and everything about the tournament is very important to Moxley and everything prior. Because with Moxley, he was getting beat by, he's tapping out a few, and obviously that was the whole thing against Moxley. It was very, the Death Riders were teased on turning him, and it's still not happened yet. I'm recording this wild. But the main thing was the Kyle O'Reilly, and he was getting to look a bit weak and to look a bit, not frail, but, vulnerable. And in this match and this entire Continental Classic run, it really just hones in on that about Moxley. And it's not that it's just solely focused on Moxley, because Kyle gets a lot too. It's like, it's perfect. Like, the character analysis maybe, but just sums up these guys perfectly at this point in their careers. And you got to look at who Jon Moxley was at this point as well. Jon Moxley was one of the biggest heels in all the wrestling with that title reign, and everyone began to love him, obviously, because, the quality of the work's Jon Moxley, it's undeniable. But then, in this match, it's crazy, he starts off when he enters the arena, but even Brian pointed out in commentary, goes, Jon Moxley getting a few, cheers as first time for a while, and it's like, that's true. And then by the end of the match, he's fully cheered. It's nuts. And to speak on Kyle, I mean, I've made it clear, Kyle, for both of these guys, are some of my favourite wrestlers in the world, but I adore Kyle Fletcher, especially this year. And in this match, I think it sums up Kyle perfectly, where Kyle's, it's arrogant, he's never been in the ring with John. Kyle Fletcher's wrestled at such a high level at this point, and he believes his own hype. But Kyle Fletcher's never dealt with a guy like Jon Moxley. He's dealt with tough competitors, but not he's dealt with the likes of Okada, Ospreay, but he's never dealt with a Jon Moxley. And it kind of really hones the point of there's only one Jon Moxley. He goes in there and he's taunting and he's pushing, and and it's like, you don't do that to Jon Moxley. Jon Moxley hits him once and he goes off the ring. And he's like that, and he keeps doing the rollout of the ring, thinking that'll just wind Jon Moxley up, and it doesn't. Well, it does wind him up, but he thinks he can get away with doing it, and Jon Moxley goes, while he's parading to the crowd, Jon Moxley comes in, just elbows him straight, and it really sets Kyle. It shows that Kyle is not in for this type of match, and even throughout the match, the resilience of Moxley is insane. But then also just the fact of who Jon Moxley is he was feral, you know what I mean? He was always feral, he was dead scrappy, and I don't think Kyle Fletcher ever had a scrap. He was more used to, these wrestling matches, these wars, not scraps like Moxley is. Moxley is very feral, like I said, and it's not really a strike-heavy match. That's what's wild. It's a lot of brainbusters, it's a lot of chokes, especially from Moxley. And, there is some strikes in it, obviously, but it's not like a strike-heavy match. And I love that about it. It's very much of every single thing that is done. It's very near fall in the meta, because there's a lot of kick-outs. There's a kick-out where, I don't know if there's a brainbuster or what, but Jon Moxley kicks out one. It's insane. The story in this match tying into the Continental Classic is great. Everything about it. And it gets tense. I feel like that's what I love. Even rewatching it, I know what happens. It gets tense. And it's like, you feel after the match. I remember watching this live, and it just followed Okada to Takeshita, which was obviously huge build-up, but also two of the best wrestlers ever. Again, and this followed it, and it was such a high bar to follow, and it exceeded it. And I remember, even after watching it just recently then, I was like, I finished watching the match, I'm like, I felt out of breath. That's my health. But you know what I mean? It's nuts. And the brainbuster is a brainbuster that Moxley does. Well, yeah, it's not a brainbuster. He takes him off and does I don't know if it's a brainbuster. It's something with Moxley, and he does it off the top rope to Kyle, and Kyle lands on top of his head. horrible. He was definitely out at that point. Definitely some effect. It was nuts. The reversals, like, the way Kyle just targets this leg of Jon Moxley is nuts throughout the match. There's a point where he gets him in the steel steps, just starts racking it, and then the leg locks. Not even just the ankle locks, the leg locks. There's points where, I remember saying it in my World End review at the time, where Moxley is like on the ropes flat, and you can see Kyle going over. That's how much the leg, and that was the whole story of Kyle's approach. It's like they both had similar approaches, where like Kyle would attack Moxley's leg, but Moxley would always go for the choke, and that's what I liked how tense it was, because you knew how the match was going. That's how the match was going to end, either through a leg injury or the choke. That's what it was. Kyle gets more and more desperate throughout the match too, where Kyle is obviously starting off a bit cocky. He's like, I can beat Jon Moxley, I'll slap him about, I'll go, come on, Jon, and like, again, don't do that to Jon Moxley. And to the point where like he's doing the brainbuster, that's the steps, Moxley's out, his legs completely fucked, and he gets Bryce and he goes, count, get in the ring and count. He's sitting in the corner and he's desperate for the win. He's not bothered. That's how, like, again, I feel like that is such a great turning point to be like, oh shit, like Kyle knows he's in deep water and he's just surviving at this point, and Moxley just won't quit. And the kick out again, the kick out at one, Moxley does brilliant cuts, does brilliant stomps. Oh, it's brilliant. And then like there's a point where it's early on in the match where Moxley's on the corner. Kyle kept doing the boot, like forcing him like outside the ring, and Bryce breaks it up, and Kyle obviously does the I have until 5 spot. I'm gonna pop for that. And then just everything about it, it really does sell both characters. The resilience of Moxley, the never say die attitude, and just how 1 in a million the guy is, against a cocky, arrogant, talented by all means, brutal bully of a character that Kyle Fletcher is, but he just couldn't get it done, and it was nuts. And he just couldn't handle that. It affected his ego too much. The finish, like I said, like it's just reversals. It feels like, but like not like your traditional Jay White like dodge out the way reversals. No, it was more like that leg lock where Kyle's over the head, and then Moxley like grab the leg and then go for the choke, and then stuff like that. It was very scrappy. Like I said, Moxley made it scrappy, and I adore that because it fits Moxley to a T. And obviously Kyle weren't used to that, and it was unique to me. I thought it was it was just pure perfect example for what both guys needed. Even the finish, I love how Moxley, the way Moxley chokes Kyle. He chokes him a few times, but at the end, the finish, he chokes Kyle out, where Kyle obviously goes out, but like his face goes purple. You can tell Moxley's brutal with it, and the celebration after it, I mean, good God. Moxley celebrates like he scored the World Cup winning goal. He's going, yeah, like all that. Kyle's livid, and Kyle's like, oh my God, I didn't tap, and he goes, you're out, and then Kyle's livid, looks at Moxley and just attacks the leg before leaving. Just how petty he is. And Moxley's still in pain, but you've got the final the next night. It was nuts. And I forgot to say with the story of the Continental Classic in there, towards the end when he was getting scrappy where Moxley kicks out, Kyle's got his head in his hands, he's beyond bewildered, and he goes to the turnbuckle to look for a screwdriver. Because that again is the desperation sitting in again, starting from a guy who, was quite cocky in the match to ending up a guy's desperate to win, count out all by a weapon. But it was Gon Okada used that on Takeshita, which I love that, I adore that, I love how that played directly into this match. It obviously caused more story between Okada, Takeshita and Fletcher, but just as a match it worked brilliantly. And just the crowd, it's a very tense match. It's obviously the semi-final, but also it's dead tense, it's very tight, the air was like close, it was weird. And like I said, after the match, even watching it, like, whew, it was incredible. And I think it was very much I feel like if Moxley did lose this match, it would have been very symbolic of Moxley's on his way out in terms of kayfabe. And I love that Moxley was like, I'm not saying die, I refuse to quit, I will not quit. And that's what got him win. I think it perfectly fits Moxley, and I think it perfectly fits Kyle. I think everything about this was phenomenal storytelling. I think it was just phenomenal way to physically show, and the way wrestling, I think this is the way wrestling tells stories perfectly. But in this, it was just a very good execution of resilience in a wrestling match that you get. Again, I'm Bryan Danielson fan. I've seen this 100 times, but like, I really love how it's handled because it fit both guys, not just one. And even the semi-final, everything about it, athleticism, obviously everything about it, I adore this match. I do. The crowd, it it's a feeling at the end where you're like, good God, and I adore that. I don't get that from a lot of other matches. I adore this match. It's phenomenal. A great way honestly, it's one of the reasons this is videos like into 2026 releasing, because this was at the very end. Like, I had to wait for World's End because I'm like, no way, I'm not doing this without World's End. It's that good, and it paid off. What a match. So, number 6 for my matches of the year 2025 was Will Ospreay versus Kyle Fletcher for the steel cage match at AEW Revolution. Now, there'll be another match I talk about late in another video that's similar to this, and even in this video, in the sense of, it's because stories bleed over from the previous years, it's hard to kind of not count that, so the investment was there. But obviously it's about the match. I think personally, just how they handled this match specifically. Bear in mind, the Kyle Fletcher like birthing of a monster that was caused by Ospreay indirectly, and obviously Callis, is one of my favourite stories in all of AEW. I don't think it's fully been realised yet, but even to this day, I just adore how that original run of Ospreay matches was, and I think this is the peak. I think this is the most story-told-esque match Will Ospreay's ever had. And don't get me wrong, I think Will Ospreay is one of the best wrestlers I've ever seen, and I don't think that's unfair to say. I think the guy's truly insane, and he's on another level, frankly. But in this match, it feels a lot more weight. There's a lot more there's a lot more time to let moves breathe because of the Ospreay's a very quick wrestler, and that can be to a detriment at some points. People call him out for flippy shit, which is asinine, by the way. But I mean, as a wrestler, he doesn't really do these type of matches, and I think he slots in perfectly. Like, the visuals he creates, I think he understood everything perfectly. I adored it. From the start, before I forget, they have, like, him and Kyle have these dubstep entrances. They fucking suck, and, like, it's awful. It's awful entrances, but they get their original themes. This is proto-theme Hot Mulligan Kyle, so he is the proto-star, but he's still not Pink Gear proto-star, and he looks like a baby compared to what he is now. That's not even compared to what he is in Aussie Open. It's insane. But I love it. The start of the match, I love how Ospreay is struggling to get to grips with the cage. I thought they showed that out perfectly. It was only small. Like, he tried to do a springboard, he couldn't. Then he tried to do his backflip where he does, like, you know, he goes on his handstand and flips off the ropes, and he couldn't do that because the cage hurt him and he hurt his ankle. Kyle taking perfect advantage. I thought that was excellent. I adore that. The moves, I mean, the snappiness of this is late on in the match. The chops Ospreay delivered are all insane. Kyle Fletcher's kicks and everything always work. It's a cage match, so you're gonna get blades, like, and just some bit more heavier spots. Like what the first blood spot was when Kyle got Ospreay basically like a burn and arrow type of throw and threw him into the corner of the cage. Ospreay was bleeding throughout the match. It's a great visual. I think Ospreay, it's going to sound wild, I think Ospreay suits blood very well, if that makes sense. And then it just kind of continues to just like get up and up and up in terms of like the insanity of it. I mean, they eventually obviously bring chairs into it. There's a point later on where they bring weapons into it. You know, there's a lot of, obviously with both guys being high flyers, they obviously go to the top of the cage and dive off at some point, you know, and tease that quite a lot. I really enjoy it. I love the best visual of one of anything in wrestling, in my opinion, is the entrance when it's Fletcher up there and Ospreay's like that with his hands out to truly soak in the crowd, and they're both standing up to the cage and Fletcher's like that. I think that truly sums everything up. I love the emotion Ospreay conveys in this match. I feel like he really looks like they're both very driven, but Ospreay's determined to try and neutralize what this monster has become, and it's his fault in a way, and he does, but it's also like, I think it's truly realized, like, shit, this is insane how good Kyle is. Obviously, this is like, I feel like this is, I think the Full Gear match last 2024 before this one was excellent, obviously, but I feel like this was Kyle's big show out for me. I love Kyle Fletcher. I think you all know I'm a big Kyle Fletcher guy, and I think this match is one of the reasons why. I feel like, again, so just to loosely go off track, you've got spots where, you know, Kyle, obviously, there's a lot more brutal spots, like Kyle's licking blood. Like, there's a point where, like, the brainbusters Kyle delivers to Ospreay are nuts, by the way. I will say that. They're absolutely insane. there's small, like, there's like 3 or 4 like hot, like, you know, smooth, like, minutes, like, long sequences, like, that are usual for a Will Ospreay match, and there's a lot of weight in everything. The hidden blades Ospreay delivers, and the elbows just in general are insane. Obviously, Mark Davis gets an involvement. He comes in, breaks in the cage. I think this is when the match really starts to step up and, like, you know, further on. Is when Davis gets involved. He just comes in out of nowhere, opens the cage with a bag to give Kyle, and then goes to give Kyle a chair and a bag full of weapons. Then Ospreay shuts the door on Davis, baiting Davis in, and kicks Davis. And then in the bag there was a there was a barbed wire bat, which obviously causes Kyle gets hit with it. Then Kyle's begging for mercy. He pulls out the United Empire armband, goes like that, trying to get Ospreay to give him mercy. And Ospreay goes, like, basically flips off. Kyle delivers a low blow. Then Kyle starts attacking Ospreay. Kyle whips out some thumbtacks. That was a nuts thing to see. And Kyle himself gets Styles clashed onto the tacks, which was brutal, by the way. That was brutal. Bear in mind, they're both bleeding like hell. And then even with Davis makes another save with the, like, you know, trying to get Will off Kyle. The brainbuster onto the chair by Fletcher to Will is nuts, by the way. No wonder Ospreay had to get surgery. It's just the brutality of the match. And obviously, one of my favourite things about the entire match is the small ending sequence. That's not even including the screwdriver spot with Kyle, where he gets the screwdriver and looks like psychotic. I love it. I love it visually about this match. I think it's one of my favourite visuals in any wrestling match ever. And I love that the end where Ospreay goes like old school Sabu mode, where like he wraps the barbed wire around him, but he's teasing the hidden blade, and it's like he's going and that's what teases the original where Kyle goes up to get the screwdriver, but I think he keeps it on. But then Ospreay obviously teases the hidden blade again, and Kyle's like completely out. No, this is after they go to the top of the cage and he flips the pair of them off, like, you know, through the legs. I forget what the move is called. And Ospreay goes to do a hidden blade. I think this is with that barbed wire on. And Kyle just starts screaming, "I hate you! I fucking hate you! I hate you!" And like Ospreay's looking like pissed as all hell. He goes, "I hate you! Fuck you!" And then as soon as he says that, he just fucking absolutely annihilates him with the hidden blade, gets the pin. Oh, it's magic. That ending, everything about it is magic. I adore it. I think this match, it's not for a Will Ospreay match, it's the slowest Will Ospreay match I've probably ever seen, and that's like not saying much because Ospreay's matches are rapid in terms of pace, but I mean storytelling wise, it's easily his best, and I adore that. I adore Kyle. Again, this is Kyle's big show out, but it's still such a big thing on Ospreay, and I adore it. The canvas is painted red. There's the weight of everything, even with Mark Davis getting involved and, you know, tying it back to United Empire, it really sells on, like, I think throughout the match, Ospreay even goes, like, I don't know if this is just me, like, you know, trying to look at something and finding it there. It's like Ospreay seems to, be more and more convinced that Kyle's beyond saving. He's got to cut ties, he's got to do what he's got to do. I feel like that's kind of the point of the match, but I love that Kyle just continuously proves that. And Kyle, I feel like this is a big thing for Kyle. Kyle was game as fuck, for lack of a better term. Kyle would do anything, and it shows. He's excellent. I'm a big Kyle Fletcher guy, so I'm never gonna not think that. But it's a staple, Will Ospreay and Kyle Fletcher. I think this is Kyle Fletcher's biggest match to date. Not because he had the title shot, but you know, on point. Like, I think in general, biggest match. I feel like this was the kicking off point of Kyle being as good as he is. I think this is one of Ospreay's best matches in his career in terms of importance. I feel like it's such a pivotal AEW match too. I feel like that's a big statement. And on AEW, debatably no, it's not the best match on Revolution, but Revolution's an insane card. I'd be baffled if you've not watched this match. It's truly one of AEW's best, and it's one of the best of the year. And just frankly, it's such a pivotal part of modern AEW because Kyle Fletcher's so integral, so is Will Ospreay, and I think this is very integral of creating, frankly, the Demon, the Protostar, just everything that Kyle Fletcher is. And frankly, Kyle Fletcher is such a big deal to me, and I think in general for wrestling, so it's kind of be insane if you've not seen it and understand how good Kyle is. I recommend this to people who have not really... I recommend the trilogy, or like, you know, the full Kyle versus Ospreay matches before this, because I feel like if you watch it from that way, my experience, it really does help it a lot. It's an excellent match and fully deserving to be on this list. So, number 5 on my men's wrestling matches of the 2025 year is the Ring of Honor Supercard of Honor match between Bandido versus Konosuke Takeshita. Now, completely blunt, this match was going to be number 6, but after rewatching it, I'm like, this is too good. It's genuinely too good. So I had to switch it with number 5, the original number 5, but super tight. I adore this match. I think it's kind of weird to have it so low, so to speak, because it's so weird, because in my opinion, if you watch my Wrestlers of the Year video, my 2 best male wrestlers of the year were Bandido and Takeshita, and I think that's unanimous for a lot of people. And just, so these two have a match. I think they had a few matches last year, but like this one specifically is the one that steals the cake. And after rewatching it, I truly think it's the best like example of how good I think this is Bandido's match year, obviously, but I think in general, just the guy is. I think this is the match that solidified people going, oh my god, this is how good Bandido is. And the match itself is phenomenal. It starts off with basic, you know, wrist control. I say basic, the shit they're doing is nuts. And then after the point, because I kind of like to split this match into like, because it's about 30-minute match, so it's kind of good to split it into thirds. The first about like 5 to 10 minutes are about mainly wrist locks, not really a lot of strikes. They kind of get into strikes towards the end of that. And the wrist locks maneuvers, the way they're just maneuvering about it, like just the basic just athleticism just of the twists and turns and everything from both wrestlers are incredible. But then it comes to a point where Takeshita's trying to rip Bandido's mask off, and that's when I think the match just goes up a gear, in the sense of like they have a blade spot. Don Callis is there. Don Callis gets a lick on Bandido, and I think this match is like a perfect example of just Bandido as a wrestler, as a character, everything about him. I think he's brilliant. I think this shows how how good of a babyface he is. He's a bit aggressive in the start, like he goes to Takeshita like during the beginning of the match, "Yo madre puta," like obviously I assume him mean, you know, you son of a bitch. And then, you know, so it's like he seems a bit more aggressive than usual, but I don't know what the build was to this match. But then Jesus, after that point, like when he's ripped the mask, he's bleeding. It's the only real blood in the match. And Takeshita basically goes for the chair spot, trying to hit the chair, misses. He ends up taking Bandido up to the ramp, hitting a brainbuster, which looked brutal. And then, you know, trying to get the count out when it was Ring of Honor. It was Honor Rules, I think so. I forget the rule set's exactly called, but it was 20 count. And I've seen this a few times from Bandido. And I think this is what, for me, is one of the main reasons why people love him so much, besides just the ring. He portrays everything perfectly. Like, when he's walking from the ramp back to the ring, he looks like a zombie. He looks undead. And just how he sells that is just brilliant. The resilience of the guy is insane. I say that in most matches, but Bandido is just, he's perfect at it. He truly is like a superhero. He's like, I can't think of many better babyfaces than Bandido, really. I can't. And I think this is such a good example of that, because frankly, like, you're watching this guy go through hell and he's just still not giving up. It sounds like basic, but it's just to the level that he does it. It's how he sells, how he manages to maneuver through these emotions in the match. And then the athleticism, I mean, Takeshita's just, he play into the weight with the chops and the elbow strikes and stuff. But then towards, like, after the end of this bit, I mean, Jesus, just like the kicks, the insane loudness of it. And the main thing of it is they're trying to like sell that Bandido's going for the 21 suplex, which, you know, obviously is one of his staple moves. And he's like, Takeshita keeps holding on to the ropes, and because of the weight difference, and because Takeshita's been attacking the shoulder a lot, which brutally, by the way, he like pulls the shoulder like over, like it I think this is it's either due to Bandido, and you cannot look past Takeshita's effort too, is the two geniuses at selling and just making everything look brutal. The shoulder work they're doing looks insane. I'm surprised that shoulder's still intact. And it adds to Bandido's just, frankly, just superhero-like qualities watching the match. But the main thing is he's going for the 21 suplex. and Takeshita keeps blocking it, so they keep building towards that. That's clearly what the build is for the move. And obviously Takeshita with the Raging Fire. And towards the end, so eventually Bandito does land the 21 suplex this later on in the match. And it doesn't work, and everyone's like, the crowd are phenomenal. They truly, even on commentary, I think it's Riccaboni, or it's Don Riccaboni, and I forget the other guy's name for RH. And like towards the end of the match, like in the last 10, they're like, this is insane. Like when it's that good, you start laughing in disbelief. That's how good the match is. And the 21 suplex doesn't work, so you're like, shit, what can we do now? It's such a great psychology about the match. It's like, this needs to happen, this needs to happen, this needs to happen, and it doesn't work. It's like, shit, we are fucked. And it still carries on. I mean, after that point, you're getting some brilliant kicks, brilliant, like the elbows, the chopping spots. I mean, the airtime Bandito gets will never like cease to amaze me ever. And one of the most towards the end, the last 10 minutes are pure marvelous. I feel like the speed. Like I watch these matches on my phone, and well, for the videos to get the footage and stuff, and I screenshot because I don't want to use the real videos copyright stuff. And it's so hard to screenshot this shit because the speed these two move at is insane. Jesus. And then the main thing is Takeshita goes for a Raging Fire. And Bandito's like finished at this point. And he kicks out at one. And it's like everyone's like, what the fuck? Takeshita's face is like dropped. Oh my god, it's phenomenal. And then after that point, they're just hitting each other with everything. He goes for the 21 suplex again. You think that's going to be it. It's not. Every kick out, every single thing past that point is just pure insane energy. It's so hard to break down. And like when they're going for the not the like the base Takeshita, it's like a suplex power slam thing. I forget the name of it, but it's so good. And like that Bandito just keeps kicking out to that. Bandito eventually, I don't want to like undersell the ending, but the last sequence I don't want to really describe too well because it's that manic. I feel like if you've watched the Kenny Okada matches, the speed, the rate, the athleticism, I say this about all my favourite matches really, the build they have in a match is very important to me, just condensed in itself. The build, just the momentum, everything about this match, there's very little low points. It just keeps rising and rising and rising, and it's impeccable. It's truly one of my favourite things, and I feel that's what really raised the bar on me for this. I feel like I forgot how good everything about that was. That's what pushed it above the previous section you've probably seen. And just the finish, I mean, you can say the finish is a bit weak compared to everything that they blow up, but like, I don't care. Like, frankly, the match itself is like, because the finish is a roll up essentially, but it's like, what could justify it? You know what I mean? It's like, it's too insane. But like, in general, that match it's so good. You have to watch it. It's free on YouTube on Ring of Honor's channel. It is one of the best matches I've seen. I don't want to say ever because it's low on the list, or it's midpoint on the list, but it's such a perfect example of just who Bandito is. And for me, Bandito is one of my favourite wrestlers. And just Takeshita, again, you can never look past Takeshita and just, like how good he is, but it truly is just, if you've ever been someone or know someone or whatever who's into wrestling but like you don't know anything about Bandito, this is the match. No debate, this is the match. It sells you on Bandito, you get exactly what he's like. You'll fall in love with Bandito. That was it for me. My friend Snotty showed me this match. Yeah, I've watched this. This is probably my most watched match of the year, frankly, and it still gets me every time. It's that good. The emotion just sleeps through the screen, and just, it's truly excellent. I cannot describe it anymore. It gets me hyped. Like, look, I'm giddy. It's so fucking good, and just it just sells Bandito himself. Everything this makes you believe Bandito has to be the next world champion, and he damn should, because this is the best match of his year for me, obviously, but this could be this probably the best match of his career. And that's like not a small feat because the guy is truly insane. But like, it's a masterpiece. It's a masterpiece of just showcase who the character is, athleticism, everything about it. It's a masterpiece of a match. If you haven't watched it, go watch it. Because at the end, we covered the match earlier. Ted Cesaro comes out, stuff like that. It's just, as a capsule, as a match, regardless of like everything else, just as a match, you owe it to yourself to watch it. It's a blend of styles, two masters of the work. It's an excellent example of truly what, to me, pure magic of wrestling is. And if you've not watched it, you're doing yourself a disservice. truly, this is one of the main ones you got to watch, because for me, I'm surprised. Like, I am even surprised at myself it's this low, and it probably should be higher, but obviously the reasons going forward. But truly, magic match, and honestly, do yourself a favour, watch it, because it is magical. So, number 4 for my wrestling matches for the men of 2025 is Hiromu Goto, I'm pronouncing that right, versus Zack Sabre Jr. at New Japan Wrestling's New Beginning in Osaka last year. Now, usually, visually, I always put images throughout the matches, but New Japan are very strict with how they do stuff, and like, they don't let me screenshots or whatever, so there'll be less images. I'm apologetic. But just to ramble about the match, I mean, I'm not the most avid New Japan watcher. I'm not the most knowledgeable on Sabre Jr. and even Goto. But Jesus, this match sucks you in. It's lightning in a bottle. And the thing is, when I have watched New Japan, I watched Wrestle Kingdom, the start of 2026, Tanahashi's retirement. And even then, that was in the Tokyo Dome. I don't know what the arena's called here, but it's obviously not the Tokyo Dome, it's in Osaka. So it's a lot more barren, the arena's a lot more spacious, stuff like this. And with New Japan audiences, they're a lot more reserved compared to other audiences, especially American and European with AEW and stuff. But I mean, God, I've never seen, from my limited watching of New Japan matches, I've seen a handful, but I'm not seeing a lot, I'm not the most well versed. I've never seen the crowd this desperate, this manic, frankly this manic. And it's magic. I watched this for the first time when I was researching matches for my matches of the year. I didn't watch this match before I started doing the match of the year stuff, and I fell in love with it instantly. I fell in love with Goto. I've seen Zack Sabre Jr. before. I'm a massive Bryan Danielson fan. Obviously, I've watched Zack Sabre Jr. and he's brilliant, as we all know. But Goto, I mean, for what I know about Goto, and you put it over in the match as well, I watched it with English commentary. One, he's like, from what I understand, he's very much been the backbone and like the workhorse in New Japan for years, during like the Kenny and Okada and Tanahashi, all those eras, and basically a New Japan peak. And he never really, he's never had the world championship. And then his father died in his G1 run last year, and then he's always been this underdog. And obviously Zack Sabre Jr. was the second Gaijin ever to win the G1, and he had the belt. And with Goto here, the crowd and him are just, it was similar to, frankly, some of the best underdog stories I've ever seen, just in terms of the atmosphere for matches finally getting the payoff. It felt inevitable, it felt magic, like I said. And I just think for a New Japan crowd, which something that's not normally that manic, I keep using that word, but it's true, just insane, like up for it, hyped, to get behind someone that loud, that's unusual for me regarding New Japan, and I think that's incredible. You cannot deny that. And to go on the actual match itself, I mean, I'm not too familiar with Goto's moveset. I'm a bit more familiar with Sabre Jr.'s. Sabre Jr. is a very brutal and phenomenal technical wrestler. We all know this. But like, I feel like this one, it's a bit more targeted. Obviously, he targets the arm for Goto and the shoulder. He rarely targets that. Like, I love it. Bryan does it, used to, where he like puts the arm like that and stamps on it. But the way Sabre Jr. does it is absolutely brutal. I'm surprised that arm wasn't more damaged. But then it didn't feel like a usual. Well, he was arrogant, Sabre Jr. in it, and it didn't feel like a usual arrogant spot of the sense of where you don't even deserve to be in here with me. It truly felt like Sabre Jr. was like, you don't even deserve to look at me, frankly, being here with me. And Goto, just more and more, Goto would not say die. He truly wouldn't. That's the exact way to put it. He would not say die. And just every time Sabre Jr. was getting it, he was getting like cocky pins. The twist, I love that twist move Sabre Jr. is where he puts his head between and he twists it. It's phenomenal. And just stuff like this, but Goto every single time would have one small little moment we get out of it. The best way to accompany, encapsulate it all is when Sabre Jr. gets this specific lock submission hold on Goto towards the end, and Goto's arms are both back and he goes to try and get the ropes, and then Sabre Jr. notices this and gets the leg back. And so like Goto's literally got nowhere else to go, and a small second, not even a full second, there's a tiny opening and Goto gets the ropes, and the crowd erupt. Oh, it's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. And Goto's moves, I don't know if Goto's finisher is the one where he does where he slams them onto his knee. Oh my god, it's brutal. And just everything, the fight Goto shows, the emotion. I seen someone say about it when I first watched it, and even I remember seeing this like I seen people react to it when it actually happened, but when I watched it, people were going, this is truly technical excellence with Sabre Jr., which is true, versus pure emotion with Goto. And I don't think there's a better way to describe the match like that. And again, this makes me want to watch more Goto. I think I will. And just in general, Sabre Jr., I don't think Sabre Jr. is credited enough for how good this performance is here. It really, everyone was going to be behind Goto anyway, seemingly. It really did. But it was just more, Sabre Jr. does play that dick, and the near falls they do. I mean, Goto hits like a brutal lariat on him. And Sabre Jr., like, it looks like Sabre Jr.'s dead weight, and then you get to roll up, and it's like, Jesus. You know what I mean? Like, your heart goes, you catch your breath. It's that tight. It's that investing as a match. And just the emotion. I've not seen a match in its pure self, just in that moment, just from the in-ring work, encapsulate emotion as well as this. And I can go on about other matches probably in this list which, you know, do encapsulate a lot of emotion, but that's because of my bias with following the stories. But I had no real knowledge about any of this going in. And don't be wrong, the hype package before the match is great, but it's in itself, bell to bell, it's phenomenal. Goto gets the win, and oh my god, you see people in the background screaming like they've just won like a national trophy. Like, it's nuts. If this is how Goto's usually revered, I need New Japan fans to let me know about this, because this is genuinely something I ask. I've asked a lot of questions, but this one I really want to know. Is Goto's usually this over? Because Jesus Christ, that man seems like a god. It's insane. I cannot believe, even now, this is like my third time watching this match, and I'm still just fascinated, drawn in. I think that's a big thing. When I first watched the match, I was worried it was going to be, oh yeah, this is just because I haven't seen it before. No, 2 more times, and I'm just as invested. It gets you every time. And then he comes out, obviously, and then, you know, his kids come in the ring. He gives his kids Goto's crying, everything. It's masterful. It's special. It's a real special moment. And wrestling, we get them a lot. Like, you know, there's a lot of moments that can try and feel manufactured, and this doesn't. And again, with the reputation and what I know of New Japan, that doesn't feel like a normal thing. It doesn't. Like, I just, everything about it is just, I feel like if I was invested in New Japan and watched it week by week and had a lot of history and whatever with it, this would be number 1. I do have a feeling about that. That's how highly I rate this match. Obviously, I'm not, so I don't have as much bias, but even just as a one-off match, I mean, it's magic. It truly is. It's not even the greatest technical marvel. As good as Zack Sabre Jr. is, the match is about Goto, and Goto sells that. I mean, Jesus, what an underdog, what a wrestler, what a workout, and what a match. Honest to God, phenomenal match. I've said this about every match on the list. This is next level. It truly is. It's from 5 onwards. It gets so tight, and for me, this is just pure of, I don't watch New Japan. There's not a lot of reasons this couldn't be number 1, and I don't want to say it's my favourite. I wouldn't say it's my favourite, but it's definitely on there. And I think, you know, this list does have a mixture of both. But this, I mean, Christ, what a match. Again, watch it if you haven't. But, I mean, if you're a New Japan fan, again, this crowd does not seem normal. Please let me know, because it enthralled me. I love it. It got me emotional the first time, and it gets me a bit now. It's impeccable. It really is. And I think this really encapsulates how just this universal wrestling is. It's wild and corny to say, but it's true. It's art. It truly is art. What a match. Honestly, it's fucking amazing. It really is. It's amazing. So, number 3 for my men's wrestling matches of the year, it is the Anarchy in the Arena match from AEW Double or Nothing, and obviously this is phenomenal. It's a hard match to kind of break down and review, but I think I've said it a few times, especially in the previous pick. For me, wrestling is a big thing for me. I think wrestling's a big, ironically enough, conglomeration of a bunch of different aspects, and one of the biggest aspects for me is emotion. I have never felt an emotion based on pure just in a match of how much I've very rarely enjoyed a match more than I've enjoyed this match. I think the music and anarchy in the arena plays a big part, obviously, but it's just so fucking fun. It's one of the most fun I've ever had watching the wrestling matches. There's been matches, obviously, I've been tied up more in the story and stuff, but in terms of just joy, fun, just being like, what the fuck, smiling. I'm rewatching this again, and as soon as this match happened in, I think it was February, March time, I mean, Jesus, I've never forgot it. It's that big of a match. It's one of my favourites. It's one of my most fond memories of a wrestling fan ever. And frankly, it's a match I'm always going to go back and rewatch. It's an all-timer. And you wanted to talk about, like, again, the emotion, obviously. So let's just break it down from the start. So the team involved is the Death Riders and the Young Bucks versus Kenny, Swerve, Willow, and the Ops. 6v6. And I will say, when the Bucks are the point, you'll go into it. When the Bucks come out, they're using their music. And they're just doing this this is the start of this father and father gimmick, which is hilarious. They have a picture of the Mount Rushmore with the pair of the faces on all of them. I thought that was funny as fuck. And then Schiavone goes after the introduction. That was the biggest load of bullshit I've ever heard. Like, fucking hell. And then that's the music that plays, and then everything, is being wild. A lot of Joe and Claudio on the concourse. And then Kenny grabs the mic and goes, this music, let's change the music. And then it plays the Pointer Sisters, I'm So Excited, which was the AEW intro song for a period. And I'm convinced they were gonna go, nah, next song please. But everyone fucking popped for it. Like, Swerve and Kenny look at each other and go, I can't continue, it's fucking great. And then obviously the main highlight of the match is Kenny goes, it doesn't quite fit the mood, let's go for some 2000s. If you know the words, join in too, play that shit. And they play Bodies by Drowning Pool. Perfect cut choice. It's not even like my type of music. I like the song. It's not even even to this day, the match is nearly a year old, and I always go back watching crowd videos of that moment where the crowd pop and they all go floor, and the entire crowd know the words, they're singing all of it. It's from that point, you can tell it's special. It's true. Like, at that point, whatever fucking happens. Who gives a shit? That is incredible to me. But then it's fun. Like, it's like the song is just so fucking fun. And then that's not even including the stuff that they do. I mean, it's not the most ambitious match. It is quite wild. Like, they do have a lot of split screen footage where, like, it's Show Samoa Joe, then Hobbs and Moxley, Marina and Willow. But then there's some spots, like, at the start, when it's playing the music, that's what you're kind of enticed. You're kind of just sitting there going, wow, like, what? This is incredible. And then it's, like, a bit messy, but just fun. You get to see some cool spots. But then when it comes back, and so there's a spot where the crowd do get a bit tired of the music, but there's a point where Swerve attacks Claudio, and Claudio does the giant swing and smashes Swerve into one speaker, and it stops the entire music. But at that point, the match does become a bit more focused, which you get a lot of good spots there. Like, Willow gets ear chained up to the post by Marina. There's Kenny's Snapdragon, everyone, including Marina, where he's holding her leg and she's going, do it, pussy! Stuff like that. It's points where everyone in the ring's getting choked out. It's phenomenal. And then that's not even including the funny shit with, like, well, Joe gets saved by Hook, and then, like, what the hell? And then Gabe Kidd interferes, and then Briscoe interferes after their match. Briscoe looks like a damn zombie. So the rest of the face group, Willow and the Ops, put the Death Riders in the ambulance and lock them apart, and Joe's like that. Joe's absolutely enthralled in this match. And then it cuts to the Bucks versus Kenny and Swerve in the ring, which was a great moment, where Kenny sets up the via trigger and Swerve sets up the kill shot. That was phenomenal. I really enjoyed that. Swerve gets the finish on I think it was Matt Jackson, and it's just pure fun. Like I said, it's like there's no other way to describe this match than just fun. And the emotion that bleeds out of this match is incredible. It's not the biggest, like, they could have done much. They couldn't have done much, right? But it was like, as soon as that Drowning Pool Bodies song hit, it was over. It truly was. It was over. Like, this is one of the best matches ever. And considering how good Double or Nothing is as a pay-per-view, this is my standout, debatably. And I think it's because it's a special match. Again, you don't get this match often, so it's like you got to take that into account. I think also what's fun to me is the wrestlers involved are really cool. You know, everyone in there is a very experienced, very good wrestler. You know what I mean? So they all know what they're doing. So they're just allowed to just go, fuck it, let's just do what we want. Like, and even the novelty of having a Shibata in the match is great. I don't know why. I always like the fact that Shibata. I just don't feel like he's normally in these types of matches, but I really enjoyed that he is. The staple gun spot was great, where Swerve takes over and then he gets mutilated by, like, he's staple guns everyone. It starts with Marina trying to staple gun Hobbs, and he's just like, the fuck are you doing? And then they staple Swerve's tongue in the match. Oh my god, it's nasty. But it's not as brutal as, you know, blood and guts matches, obviously. But again, like I said, there's no other words to describe it than just, you're never getting this type of emotion out of any other AEW, any other wrestling match, I don't think. It's truly an all-timer, and for me, that is one of my biggest things. Again, the reason it's not higher, and the reason it is this high is, one, because it's purely based on emotion. This is a highlight I'll never forget. As a wrestling match, as a moment, whatever, I'll never forget watching this match the first time, and I'll always go back and rewatch it forever. But as a wrestling match, you know, it's hard to break down, so it's not the greatest match of the year, but it's one of my greatest moments of the year, definitely. So I wanted to have it high, because originally it was going to be a top 5, but I thought I have to do a top 10, and it had to be on the top 5, so to be number 3 I thought was a fair call. I couldn't put it number 1. It's probably honestly, it's possibly my favourite moments of the year. Possibly, in terms of encapsulated in a match, it probably is. But it's so hard to, like, kind of, like, you know, break down and talk about and stuff. It's just, it's special. It's truly lightning in a bottle. And I imagine most people have seen it. It's just, I love Anarchy in the Arena. It's one of those matches where you go, I love professional wrestling, I love AEW. It's what makes you realise that a lot of times. And yeah, I'm not really breaking it down the best, but I mean, Jesus, what can you say? It's fucking Anarchy in the Arena. The Bucks hit the gritty. It's peak. But yeah, just there's truly not unlike Anarchy in the Arena. In my opinion, it's the best Anarchy in the Arena they've done, and that was a high bar. But yeah, I think everyone in the match looks solid. The match, again, the crowd carries it, obviously, but that's a huge thing. And just in general, I mean, it's impeccable. Truly, it's one of my favourites. And again, if you've not watched it, what the hell? But there's no other match for me in this entire year, and possibly for a long time, that has frankly stuck with me and give me that much of a smile on my face ever. And there's other matches that you'll probably think of, and I'll probably explain that. But this one for me it's special. It's one of my favourites ever, and it's just pure, unfiltered fun and emotion. So number 2 for my men's wrestling matches of the year for 2025 is one we probably all expected, which was Hangman versus Will Ospreay at AEW Double or Nothing for the AEW Owen Cup final. Now, this match, so to separate the previous matches I've covered on this list to this, I've talked about different aspects like the emotion and, you know, this in-ring ability, everything, you know, individually. This match and the one after it, which, you know, probably not going to be a shock, is I can't separate the build, because especially with this match, and this match, I have to really preface this, I have only ever felt a similar way I have in the build for this match ever with another wrestling match, and that was Ospreay versus Bryan. And even then, this was so different, because this match I've never seen a match going into it more split evenly down the middle. I truly mean that. And the thought of it just is exciting. It's Will Ospreay, probably the best in-ring wrestler in the modern day, versus Hangman, the best babyface you're getting, and they're both just excellent. They're both, you know, the match just reeks of classic, and for a match to have that big of a hype going into it, it delivers, and that's an insane thing to do. And I mean, Jesus, the match is like a chess. it's like a chess match where it's like everything's so tight, everything's so close, but it's still so quick. Like it's got those Ospreys, those Osprey match, staples where it's like instant flurry, breathe, instant flurry, great images, the stances, the facial expressions, and then Hangman's resilience as this undeniable babyface of the run, which again you can't deny, you can't ignore for this going into it. And then the moves they pull out, I mean, we all know the pace of Osprey, but like I love how they portrayed the weight of Hangman being a big thing. I love how they portrayed the desperation from both people at different, on different levels. And frankly, I love how they portrayed the difference of experience between Hangman and Osprey. They put that in instantly, where Osprey's a lot more emotional than Hangman, and like, for me, my opinion of Hangman is, during that whole heel run where he was looking for that second, true show of redemption, he needed to just put his emotions, he needed to swallow that emotion, and then just be able to just calmly go, not calmly, but more composure. And frankly, I think that's what this match really conveys. I adore it, and there's a lot of, I'll touch on it in a sec. One thing, I don't really like talking about the hype packages before the matches, but this one's because it's the Owen Cup final, whoever wins this gets the AEW All-In main event, and it was such a big deal because Osprey made this is the thing, going into this match, both of these guys made all the sense in the world. I was rooting for I would say I wasn't rooting. Hangman was the right call going into it, but if Osprey won, no one's complaining. It's Will Osprey, for fuck's sake. Like, again, this was following Will Osprey's 2024, which I've talked about before, is one of the best years of any wrestler ever. Go argue with a wall if you want to debate that. And just the hype package for Hangman's just so much better, because it's like him talking about, how he needs to, overcome this. It's just repeating lines with the imagery of like him looking down, and then like the faded images of Swerve, and then him burning Swerve's house down, stuff like that. It's like, for 2 years he's wasted it. He needs this, and it's like, Jesus, like I even now I get so sucked in. I've never experienced anything like that with Hangman. I never have, like, in terms of that true defiant babyfaceness and like that nature. I've never experienced anything like it. And then when you go further on with Osprey, I mean, Osprey was like, oh no, you're the best in the world. Like, frankly, Osprey is the best in the world at that point in time, and it's only he isn't now because he's injured. And frankly, with Osprey, it felt like such a fitting obstacle for Hangman going into this. Be like, if you really deserve this chance to get at the top of the mountain again, you've got to beat the best in the world, which Osprey was. And Osprey weren't going down without a fight. He challenged them to a shootout in the desert, which again, fucking delivered. Oh, it's phenomenal. It truly is. I mean, the moves, Jesus, the brainbusters, the buckshots, the near falls, the styles clash off the ring is nuts. I fucking love it. And like, it's one of the highlights of the match for me, easy, because it's the way, one, it's sold, and two, just, it's not too extreme. Like, this is a match where, like, I've made it very clear, like, what I, have my biases with wrestling matches, where, like, oh, I like a bit of blood, I like to get a bit gnarly, stuff like this. This match didn't need blood. As much as it doesn't have it, and as much as I'd like it with it, it didn't need this. It had true men purely desperate to win, and that what I adore about this match, truly adore it. I hope they do it more when he comes back. They show Osprey as not impatient, but more in the sense of like he heals it up, he loses his cool, and that's frankly what I think wins Hangman the match. Like, because Osprey's trying to get in stuff, and he gets a lot of stuff in, obviously. It's Osprey, like every time he goes for high and flying, but every time Hangman was hitting him, it would affect Osprey more than Osprey hitting Hangman. It was great. And then towards the end, like, Osprey's going wild, and the crowd even boo Will Osprey, which, bear in mind, the crowd booing Will Osprey, bear in mind, when they're 50-50 down the middle throughout the entire match, is insane. And, like, he's clearly starts arguing, pushes Bryce, and then, like, forces it. The table spot following it was nuts, where Hangman goes to do the dead eye, and the table collapses through the weight. That made it look even more brutal than what it was. And I just love how Osprey kind of just, like I said, like, going into the match, like at the start of the match, you have Hangman, who's been through this emotional roller coaster as a man, trying to look for this redemption, prove to everyone that believed in him that he can still be this. And this guy, this idolized figure, who can prove to everyone that the faith isn't wasted. And Osprey of this guy, like, I've been the best in the world, I deserve this more than you, I am, you will not beat me, I am best in the world. Which he is. And then, but Hangman's experience and Hangman finally being able to swallow that emotion and, you know, not being so rash and, you know, being composed more than Ospreay, where Ospreay was, not through lack of experience, but he knew this was his moment, and through that emotion, because Hangman was, that was what won Hangman the match, frankly, is the emotion. I love how they portrayed it. I do. I adore it. I think there was no better way for Hangman to win this match in terms of how it was portrayed than that. Like, not because it was due to Ospreay's error or, you know, a roll-up, whatever. No, Hangman was able to overcome his biggest obstacle, which, again, is himself. But that rashness that he was struggling with. And I love the thing that, like, it really exemplifies it. Is there's a point where Hangman's, like, you know, down on the ropes. Is I think after Ospreay hit him, so he's on the ropes like that, and Ospreay goes dead slow, maniacal. And again, this is where, like, Ospreay become like, he's not a heel, but he's acting more like, you know, assholey, a bit more heelish. And he goes through the V-trigger, obviously Kenny's mentor, and he goes to, well, he's Hangman's former friend, you know, mentor essentially, and hits the V-trigger, and then goes to the One-Winged Angel. And then what Hangman does, to me, I think this doesn't get a lot of credit, but if you know, like, the emotion and everything, again, you can't really take that out of it, because it really does exemplify your experience with the match. Hangman hits the big pressure, and at that point, for Hangman to hit one of Swerve's moves without any sort of resilience, and frankly, that gives him the upper end, that kind of pushes it towards the final moment when he hits that final buckshot. It's like, oh, you've overcome this now. Well, not fully overcome it, but you know what I mean, like, you're able to do that. I think subconsciously it might be me looking a bit too much into it. Hangman to be able to hit a move of Swerve Strickland, the guy who frankly ruined his life along with himself. It's an insanely great detail, and nothing else works like that. It's phenomenal. It's a perfect example of wrestling of show don't tell. WWE can't do a match like that. I genuinely, not to slay them or nothing, that I genuinely believe, because the weight, the magnitude of just pure in-ring move-wise. And again, this is not like the match isn't technical and there isn't like spots of them talking to each other, but even then, I love the fact where, like, Hangman goes up to him in front of Ospreay dead on and goes, "Is that all you've got? Show me." And it's like, Hangman doesn't want to beat Will at, like, a lower level. He wants him at his best to prove to himself, rather than, you know, he could get the win and get onto All In, but he knows he needs to beat Will. He needs to fully beat Will with no questions asked. It's truly a masterpiece, and I mean that in the highest form. And then the buckshots, the crowd's on form all night, obviously. Like I said, it's like a chess match where it's like everyone's sitting there like that. Like, towards the end, you see people with the heads, like the hands on the head like that. It's insane. And the buckshot, the sell, you know, everything, the crowd sell, the emotion, everything about it. Like, even obviously with the hidden blades. The hidden blades he does in this match are insane. One of my favourite spots in the match is when Hangman's setting up the buckshot and he's looking at Ospreay, and Ospreay's like staggers, so he falls, and he's standing there. It's similar to the Bryan spot, and I do love that, where he's sitting there and he's like, he looks at Hangman and he starts to, like, you know, defiantly and through like all this pain stand up, and then rips the thing off to go bone on bone with the hidden blade. And, like, you know, to basically intimidate Hangman, you know, say, bring it, this is the shootout part. And then Hangman takes the sleeve off to do the buckshot, and then Hangman wins that altercation. And frankly, if that was the finish, no one would have complained. That would have been perfect, but they still favour go, and it doesn't feel like it's, okay, you should have ended it there. Everything works, everything has a nice, not even just a nice flow, because it does have these spurts of, like, okay, we need a breather, because that's what a Will Ospreay match does, and there's not a problem with that. But it has this weight, everything about it. Like, you need those, because you feel like if it was just this flow, it needed these, because the match is on such a high level where everything does have meaning in a sense. It goes down, you need that breather, because you'd be out of breath. If that was the case where it had to be a full sprint, it couldn't have been longer than 15 minutes. They paced the match perfectly. The move, again, Ospreay's just a freak. The scorpion kick he does, I mean, the piri-piri, stuff like this, it's impeccable. It truly is an impeccable match, and like I said, you can't really talk about it without having that emotion. It does really exemplify your experience. And then the finish, I mean, the end, Hangman gets the buckshot, wins it. Ospreay looks distraught. And it's the first time Hangman's got this win, and then Hangman's walking up the ramp, and they confirm it's him and not Moxley at All In, and he's looking up while he's walking up, and you're like, shit, like, this is it, like, this is the moment. And then he goes up, And then he does something that obviously is very big for an AEW fan. He turns around and heads back, and like that's very reminiscent of the Swerve moment with the All Out Steel Cage match, where he went back to try and hurt Swerve more, and then this woman screams and sells the moment and shows that Hangman's truly gone. But we don't know if he was going to go hurt Swerve, but you know what I mean? He turned around. That was insane. It's one of the best moments in wrestling ever. And then he goes down to Ospreay, and Ospreay's like really upset, hands in his head. And then Hangman's standing over him, and like everyone's like shit. And Ospreay stands up, and Ospreay's like banged up. And he looks at Hangman. He looks like he's ready to go. You know, he won't say die on this. And Hangman just puts his hand out and shakes his hand. And it's like that is such a moment of growth. That is such a forward step. Again, it's a masterpiece. It's truly a masterpiece. And just again, I can't take away my personal experience from it, and I feel like that's kind of unfair advantage, but it's one of the, I think that's what the match kind of prides himself on. I'm a massive Will Ospreay fan, I'm a massive Hangman fan, so this moment, it was very, whoever won, I was going to love it anyway, but for it to deliver the expectation and hype that I had for like over 2 weeks, it's impeccable, it's a masterpiece, and it's one of AEW, in my opinion, best matches ever, and that is a high bar, and just, it makes everything worth it in a way. And just, if you're it just got so much to it, so much, like not raw emotion, but just weight, emotion, everything tied to it it's incredible. It's truly incredible. It's a masterpiece of wrestling. It's one of the best wrestling matches I've ever seen. Truly, it really is. And what's wild about it is it's number 2. But if you've not seen it, Double or Nothing's an incredible pay-per-view. Obviously, this, Anarchy in the Arena, previously discussed. It's incredible. Honestly, it's easily one. This could be most people's number 1, and there'd be no debate. It's very tight between this and number 1 for me. But this is truly a masterpiece of this entire industry. It needs to be studied for years and years to come. So, number 1 for my men's wrestling matches of the year for 2025 is not a shock to anyone, probably. It is Hangman Adam Page versus Jon Moxley for the AEW Men's World Championship in a Texas Death Match at AEW All In Texas. This match, again, like the previous one I used in the list, number 2, obviously, you can't ignore the build. You can't. And everything about it, like, as much as what I said about the last match, it completely stands here. I have never in my life, truly never in my life, been more engrossed in a wrestling story since I've been in probably most stories than that. There's something about Hangman. There truly is. There's something about Hangman. He just, you believe in the guy, and like in the best way possible. I've never seen a babyface like it. Never. And like the emotion, you feel connected in a way. It sounds wild, but it truly is how I feel. And I think with this match, I don't think it gets the credit for everything that it does. I feel like it gets a lot of credit because it is a phenomenal match. It's phenomenal. It's a moment. It's compared to Cody versus Roman at WrestleMania 40, I think. Yeah, 40. The second one with Cody won, obviously. And that makes sense, but it's also, in my eyes, it is going for a different thing in a way, but also does it. It's weird to compare, but I get it. I feel like everything about this match, you gotta look at, it wasn't just about Hangman winning the belt. It wasn't just about that. It wasn't just about let's get the belt off Moxley. It was everything. I remember watching, the anticipation for this is something I can never forget. Never. And just the build, the entrances are phenomenal. I mean, I love I'm a big fan of Westerns. So, Hangman's character's right up my alley. But then he comes out to like a guitarist and a whistler, whistling some parts of the spaghetti Western themes from Ennio Morricone. And he comes out, and then the main thing about a lot of people, you probably know a lot about this match, even if you've not seen it, just through osmosis, because it's that damn well put together. And Hangman, they have the camera on the face in the heel tunnel, and it quickly goes over because he's on the face tunnel. And it's just like, oh yeah, the way he's wearing the light brown jacket, the white pants, it's like, he's back, like he's truly back, and this is it. And there's no single person in that entire arena that wanted Jon Moxley to win. It was pure. Even watching it live, even watching it now, it's like it was complete defiance to that. There was no way Moxley could have won, and like it was just pure. It had to happen. We had to have it this way. If it didn't go, honestly, I genuinely, hand on heart, believe this. If they didn't have Hangman win here, which, spoilers, they genuinely, I don't think AEW would have ever recovered. I truly don't think that. I think it had to happen, and it was the most easy layup ever. You know what I mean? It didn't complicate it. They just done it, and that's what I really love. Moxley's entrance with the Death Riders was in this truck. That was pretty cool. I just think it looked cool, and just. The match itself is it's not an hour-long Iron Man like MJF versus Bryan. It's not a like half-an-hour sprint like Kenny Okada. It's just a well-earned moment. And it's not, honestly, frankly, no, it's not better than some of the matches on this list technically. It's not. It's probably not got the same emotion in terms of the individual match itself than other matches. It probably doesn't, no. But there's no other match, and I honestly, you got to look at, like, again, let's just reiterate it, one of my favourite wrestlers, well, my favourite wrestler ever is Bryan Danielson. I got to see Bryan Danielson win in one of the greatest matches I've ever seen live with him and Swerve Strickland at All In 24. And this is something I think was a better experience, and I truly mean that hand on heart. Even though I have the bias for my favourite wrestler of all time, this was a more cathartic moment for me, and that's insane to say. And you gotta, and like I said earlier, it's not just about Hangman winning the belt. You've got to give a payoff for Moxley's reign. And you've got to obviously make Hangman earn it. That's the thing with this match. I don't think people talk about the match itself quite often. And I get it, because it's not the quickest, it's not the most enthralling. The first like 10-15 minutes is Hangman getting his ass beat. And it's cool. Like, the beginning's great with the fork. So like the beginning, Hangman and Moxley just go at it. Moxley pulls out a fork, and then Hangman had his own fork, and then Hangman gets him in a lock and just starts stabbing at the head. Instant blood everywhere. And then basically after that, Hangman just starts getting the shit beaten out of himself by Moxley. Hangman's bleeding up a storm. You know, they set up tables, they get the chair with the barbed wire, you know, stuff like this. You know, it's Texas Death, you got to expect that. But it's just, it truly feels like they're gonna, hang on a minute, we could easily make this an hour-long fest just about insane, pure, like, just nuts in terms of like a sprint. You know, we know everyone's excited for this. And bear in mind, this pay-per-view, All In Texas, was insanely long. At this point, this is 5 hours into the main show. It's not even including the pre-show, which was excellent. It's a 5-hour show. People are fucking tired, but they turn the fuck up for Hangman and Moxley. That's one, how good this pay-per-view 2 is, and 2, just how good of a match it is, how big of a moment this is. And then, you know, just the spots with, you know, just everything Moxley hits is brutal, frankly. And that's not even including the weapons. You get the tables, obviously the chair spots. Hangman reverses it, admittedly, where he sets up the chairs, and Hangman sets it up to the backwards, so instead of like facing that way where the back's there, like a U, this one was like the backs are next to each other in the chair, and Hangman slams Moxley down. Oh, it's nasty. It's like he puts it's like his shoulder blade hits one side, and it feels like, honestly, if they just kept it there, it was more stable, it would have ripped through his shoulder blade. It was horrible. Obviously, you expecting blood with Moxley and Hangman at a Texas Death, but then you obviously, you know, this is why it gets compared to Cody Roman a lot, is they have interferences. Marina Shafir gets involved. She's from there from the get-go. She bites Hangman, and then she gets put through a table, which is pretty cool. That got a big pop, because she's one annoying bitch as a character. I love Marina, but character-wise, she's annoying as fuck. Then Yuta and Claudio get involved. They start beating the shit out of Hangman. And then, so this is where it gets wild. So, they start beating the shit out of Hangman. And then, they give, Moxley asks for the carrier bag, which my PTSD goes, you know what I mean, obviously Bryan. And then Yuta goes to give it to Mox, and Mox is about to get it over Hangman's head. And then he looks up, because the Titantron goes up, and it's a video from the top of Mount Everest. It's Darby Allin goes on the top of the world now and coming back. So it's like, oh fuck, Darby's on his way. And then when that happens, believe my excitement, as you can imagine, Bryan's back. He's got the Blue Panther mask on, and he's hitting the yes, hits the Psycho knee on Yuta, and starts beating the shit out of, because Gabe Kidd's there now, I forgot about that. Gabe Kidd runs in, so you go, oh, because Ospreay makes, it's just exactly, this match is wild, but it's in that. Gabe Kidd comes in, trying to, because Ospreay comes in, because he said he was going to help Hangman no matter what. Claudio stamps the chair on Ospreay's neck, completely taken him out, stretch it off, similar to what they did with Joe in the first match of the pay-per-view. So then, so Gabe Kidd's out there, so then Bryan attacks Gabe, Claudio, and Yuta. It was great. Darby comes down, like, obviously referencing Sting from the rafters, and they clear out. So then it's Moxley and Hangman Hangman puts a Deadeye, Moxley through the table through the Deadeye, and then he gets back in the ring waiting for Moxley to get back up, and fucking the Bucks are waiting for him behind. I forgot the Bucks were in this match. And the Bucks hit EVP trigger and the super kick on him each. You know, so Hangman's like shit. And then Marina has to pull Moxley up to throw him in the ring because she got back up, which was wild. So then they're waiting for Mox, and Hangman go at it again. And then while they're both down, they're waiting for like, Mox, get him, get his ass. And then you know, he's waiting Mox goes up to Marina. And he goes, go and get that belt. He wants to be champ so bad. I'll get him to be fucking champ. Show him the belt, and so we'll never see it again. And then Marina goes to get the belt from behind the announcer's table, or the timekeeper's table, and she gets handcuffed. It's like, what? And I mean the pop, because Prince Nana shows up, and it's like the arena knows exactly what's happening, and everyone pops like fuck. So everyone's like, Mox is like, what the fuck's going on? He's staring. Hangman's on the ground. So the Bucks are standing by the ramp. Boom. Swerve comes out. And Swerve beats up the Bucks, and it's Swerve staring at Hangman. And they're both staring, and Swerve just throws him the chain. And it's even like rewatching, bear around, I watched this match a bunch of times, but even now, it gets you. It's the way that some say you cannot ignore. Say if you didn't know, if that was your first day ever AEW like thing, you don't get that. You don't. But then this, you get it. I've seen the entire Swerve Hangman saga. I've seen everything. I've seen how much this has destroyed this man, and that's what this is all about. For him to basically go. You know what I mean? It's such a beautiful moment. It really is. And then, you know, because the spike board's out. Hangman gets paradigm shift on the spike board. This big board of nails. I forgot about mentioning that. And then he ends up hitting Moxley. Buckshot and Moxley onto the board of nails, and then hangs him with the chain. And Moxley, and this, everyone gives this credit, Moxley sells this absolutely perfectly. I think this is where the tides changed on Moxley's reputation modernly again, because people were hating on him, which was kind of the point. But also, you know, this just made you go, Jesus, Moxley's the man. That's what it basically felt like after it. Moxley sells it like a rabid dog, like he didn't know what to do, he couldn't escape, and I genuinely think he was getting choked out. The way he sells it, it's perfect, and he taps like that the entire arena. Bear in mind, it's fucking football stadium, American football stadium, erupts. Hangman's crying, we get birth to fucking the greatest Swerve image of all time, and then it's just pure, unfiltered, beautiful emotion, and it's aimed it, and it honestly, it sounds wild. I respect the fact that they didn't overcomplicate it. And it's, Shivani says it on commentary, it's so cathartic. Everything about it is just, my heart just, it feels it. I felt it in my fucking insides. It is insane to say, but it really is. It's so wild to talk about, because it is one of my favourite things I've ever seen. And I just love it. And the match itself, no, it's not, but it's the greatest match you'll ever see in terms of in-ring. It's good, it's still good, it's a great Texas Death, obviously, and I've got a bias for them as well. But the moment was in. More than earned. And even Swerve getting involved, Hangman himself, it just felt so just full, if you know what I mean. It felt so pure, and I love it. And one thing I think it really represents, not just Hangman getting the belt, not just, you know, Moxley getting his reign ended. No, it represented AEW's back, and to me that was such a, I still cannot forget that, because, you know, not to get too much into it now, but you gotta look at it, AEW took a huge hit after Punk left for how that all happened, and people's reputation on AEW, and don't get me wrong, the quality did go downhill, but this felt like this is a course corrector, we are back, this is the happiest ending we could have got, and let's fucking go. That's what it felt like. Hangman getting his belt back, the end, in kayfabe, out kayfabe, like that era of just hell, frankly, is over, and it was a pure war, and it was not just for Hangman there, but as an audience, it felt earned to get this catharticism, I don't fucking know how to say it. The point is, it felt so rewarding, and it's phenomenal. It sounds wild to say, and I feel like I'm being a bit too emotive, but I can't help it. There's something about this match, there's something about this moment, something about this story with Hangman. You can look at it from a multitude of ways. The main thing is, it's rewarding and it's pure emotion, and that's, to me, what wrestling's about. The match was great. I love the Texas Death. It was brutal. Had all this incredible imagery with Moxley and Hangman. Moxley being this ever-present, like, overbearing, brutal monster of a man. Hangman never saying die. Hangman constantly getting up. But just basically with his sheer will to prove not just himself and everyone else about him wrong, but Moxley wrong too. It's fucking impeccable, and just, I adore it. I truly adore it. And yeah, you may have a different match of the year, and it's not like a rogue shout for me to say this, but this had to be. As soon as I watched it, it was just, if a match has got me that emotional, crying, whatever, it has to be there. And All In Texas, even though I wasn't there, I knew friends were there. It's one of my favourite memories ever, not just in wrestling, ever. And they earned that, they earned everything about that, and frankly, I'd be doing myself a disservice to not put this on number one for my wrestling match of the year for 2025 for the men. So yeah, that's my wrestling matches of the year for 2025 for the men, in the top 10, including the honourable mention. Sorry for the delay on this. I know it's late, it's like February, and honestly I don't know how it's took me this long, but honestly I enjoy going back. Like, I haven't watched all these matches before making this, so I really did enjoy it, and it was really fun to do, so I can't wait to do it again for the end of this year. But also, I've still got to do the women's matches too, which will hopefully take quicker, but I'm not going to make any promises. That will be done, I do promise that. Yeah, I hope you all enjoyed if you did watch it, but yeah, let me know what your wrestling matches of the year for the men, even the women too, were this year, because, well, 2025, because I think it was a very stacked year. And obviously you can see my bias, you know, I don't watch, you know, a lot of other promotions, but what have I enjoyed, so it's fun to broaden your palette, so I hope you did enjoy it. Again, let me know your opinions on the list and your wrestling matches of the year for 2025 too, because I think that'll be a really fun discussion.